going on, guys, and welcome to today's video. And today we are going to be Rubicon front sway bar swapping Dad's JL Sport. Now, this is going to work with any JL and basically be the same setup for any JK for that matter. The Rubicon, if you didn't know, has a electronic front sway bar disconnect. With a push of the button on the dash, you can have the front sway bar disconnected so you can go off-road and have the suspension flex more easily. Correspondingly, it's a lot smoother ride while off-road if you have the sway bar disconnected. Now, there is a million different aftermarket sway bar disconnect options for Wranglers, and there are going to be a million options considerably cheaper than finding a used Rubicon sway bar disconnect assembly online. But if you're able to find one, I think this is the easiest or least time-consuming way to disconnect the sway bar. Yes, there are quick disconnects. You pull a pin, move the links, swing the sway bar up, pin them up high, and then you're already off and going. But this is going to be extremely easy because all we're going to be doing is reaching under the Jeep, tightening down a knob, the sway bar is disconnected, and then at the end of the day, you're able to loosen the knob and have the sway bar reconnected just like that. So there's no tools involved. There's nothing other than tightening and loosening a knob. Now, what our current solution has been and what we've been doing for years and years with the WJs is just bringing tools with us, unbolting the factory sway bar links, and then, zip tying or wiring the sway bar up and out of the way, because that is $0 and costs you absolutely nothing and works perfectly. But I was able to run across this sway bar assembly for cheap, which is pretty hard to find. These things, depending on what the issue is, a lot of them have the electronic actuator go bad and then find their way online or whatever. Somebody building a off-road Jeep, putting a anti-rock sway bar on or what have you, these intermittently will find their way onto Facebook Marketplace, onto eBay, and you can hopefully find one cheap and swap it onto your Jeep. So today we're going to be showing you the parts needed and then the actual install here. So let me get the parts laid out here on the ground, and then I will hopefully get this thing thrown on pretty quickly here. All right, guys, so here is our front Rubicon sway bar assembly. Now, currently, we have the electronic actuator portion still bolted onto the assembly, and this would be awesome if we could wire this up, but this is a CAN bus controlled electronic actuator. You can't just put 12 volts to it and have it lock and unlock. So this is going to be unbolted. We've got three 15mm bolts here, and then the actuator will slide off. Nothing special, you just unbolt it and slide it off. Now, what's going to go in place of our actuator is a manual disconnect knob. Now, there are, again, a million of these things all over online, from expensive $200, $150 ones, all the way down to this. This is $20 on eBay, and it looks identical to the $150, $200 ones. We've got a big spring, we've got a plate which bolts onto our sway bar assembly, and then this one is a nice one that has a nice aluminum knob here. So when this is all bolted into place, we get to our off-road spot. All we're going to be doing is tightening this knob down, which in turn pushes the collar off of the sway bar, and then it is independent. When we're done wheeling for the day, we're going to thread this thing all the way back out, loosen the knob, and then the collar can slide back over and lock our sway bar into place. Now, I did have to do a little bit of modification here. This knob is threaded into this plate, and it had no way to stop itself from being threaded all the way out. And the majority of the time, this is going to be in the loose position because the sway bar needs to be locked when you're driving on the road. So what I did was drill a hole through the aluminum knob section and threw a Allen wrench in there and bent it over. I did not have a cotter pin on hand. That would have been probably the correct tool for the job, but a bent Allen key is going to work just fine. So that knob can't unthread itself going down the highway and lose itself. So like we talked about, all we're going to need to do is unbolt the actuator. And it will fall off out of place. Now, one thing, if you have a good actuator, make sure you don't just throw this thing in the trash. These good actuators, if they're not full of water, full of corrosion, these things go for decent money on eBay for people trying to fix the bad electronic portion of a sway bar. So again, if yours is in good shape off of a good working Jeep, definitely throw the thing on eBay and try to recoup a little bit of your money from getting your sway bar assembly. And now that we've got our actuator off, we're able to just bolt our new manual knob back into place. Now I think I'm going to throw a little bit of anti-seize on these threads to hopefully make them last through winter, through dirt and mud and all of that, so we don't have as much corrosion on those threads, and then we'll get this thing bolted on. So with our manual knob now bolted into place and we have it in the loose or out position, we can tell our front sway bar is connected. It is as it would be on the vehicle. We get to our off-road location and all we're going to need to do is quickly lay under the front of the Jeep and thread this knob in. A few turns and we've already got the end of that sway bar that has fallen. That meant the collar has slid off of the two splined pieces of sway bar, and now we have a sway bar that is disconnected. Now, at the end of the day, when we're done wheeling, again, all we need to do is reach under the front of the Jeep, loosen this up, and now the next time the sway bar is in a neutral position, it is now locked back into place. Now, you can see why we added the cotter pin or the Allen wrench on the inside of that plate, because in theory, we'd loosen this up and it could fall out going down the road. Some of the more expensive ones had a nut on the inside of those threads, but for me, saving $130, I can absolutely drill a hole through some aluminum, throw a cotter pin in the thing, and have a perfectly good working manual disconnect. Now guys, as you can see, ours also did not come with the sway bar bushings or the brackets. We do have one bracket over here, but we don't have the other. I did quickly check, and the sway bar diameter is the same. So we're going to be able to reuse our sway bar bushings and our one side sway bar clamp. So we're able to just bolt this thing on with our existing hardware bushings and clamps. With our factory sway bar off, at least in our case, like I said, we needed to swap over our sway bar bushings and one side with our sway bar bracket or clamp. So here you can see they fit perfectly fine here. The factory sport sway bar bushings, at least for this 2020 model year, are the same diameter sway bars between a Rubicon and the Sport. So we've got everything in place here. We've got our manual knob on, and we are ready to get that sway bar lifted back up into place. So with our sway bar now bolted on, you can see the manual knob here. Now, this bumper does have a skid plate that needs to get bolted back on, so it's not going to be all exposed and open like this, but still, that skid plate's going to come and wrap underneath. So the extent of what we're going to need to do when we get off-road is reach behind that skid plate, tighten this knob, and just like that, we've got a disconnected sway bar. So it's going to be outrageously nice and convenient compared to, unbolting our sway bar links, zip tying those up and out of the way up to the frame. We're going to be able to do this now with absolutely no tools other than quickly laying under the Jeep and loosening and tightening the knob here. So guys, just like that, we've now got the Rubicon sway bar bolted onto Dad's Sport. And again, no, it's not as convenient as hitting a button on the dash, but it is, to me, outrageously more convenient than bringing tools, unbolting the factory sway bar end links, zip tying, wiring the thing up, or correspondingly, even with quick disconnects, you're still pulling a pin, disconnecting the sway bar links, pulling them up, pinning them up out of the way. You're just a lot more steps. And yes, I understand this is first world problems, complaining about how many steps it is to unbolt your sway bar to go off-roading in your Jeep, but if we can make it quicker, more convenient, easier to do, I can be, quickly disconnecting sway bar end links while Dad's airing down tires, and we can be more quickly on the trail. So again, all we've got to do, at least in this Jeep's case, even with the aftermarket bumper and skid plate, all I've got to do is crouch under the front of this thing, tighten the knob in this case, and the sway bar's disconnected. And then at the end of the day, without getting muddy, dirty, laying on the ground, I'm able to, again, crouch under the front of the Jeep, loosen the knob all the way out to where we've got our Allen key drilled into the knob, and boom, the next time that sway bar is in a neutral position, that collar's gonna slide over and we're gonna have a locked sway bar. So after many, many years, let's see, I've been off-roading since 2006, and that has always involved being under the front of the Jeep, disconnecting quick disconnects or unbolting sway bar links. For the first time, I'm not going to be doing that, and that is very exciting. Again, with my Rubicon, I'm able to hit the button, but this is going to be just as easy now, and I'm pretty excited about that because that's a few more minutes of off-roading time that we get on the trails that we aren't wasting messing with nuts, bolts, zip ties, wire ties, all of that to hold our sway bar up and out of the way, guys. So we are getting ready to hopefully go on an off-roading trip in a few weeks here. So this is kind of the cherry on the top before we go to make life easier. So guys, thanks for coming out into the garage today and hopefully giving you guys something to kind of watch for on local Facebook Marketplace or eBay. Now, I will say in my research for this mod, obviously a JL Rubicon sway bar will bolt onto a JL Wrangler, but apparently, don't quote me because I personally haven't done it, but a JK sway bar assembly off of a Rubicon will apparently bolt onto a JL frame. Again, please do a little more research so you don't yell at me in the comments when this doesn't work, but I have seen multiple people saying JK or JL sway bar assembly will bolt onto a JL, but that won't work in the reverse order. So you cannot put a JL Rubicon sway bar onto a JK, if that makes sense. So that, at least for us JL guys, kind of expands our search a little bit further because you're able to look for 2007 through 2025 for your available sway bars. And like I said, the JK sway bar assemblies you can often find with that electronic actuator that has failed due to water intrusion and guys throwing the sway bar on Facebook Marketplace. I almost was able to buy one a few months ago off of a JK for $100 because again, it had a failed actuator. It was already sold by the time I saw it, and here we are now many months later doing the mod with a JL sway bar. So keep that in mind in your search, and guys, hopefully this gives you another option on making your Jeep a little bit more capable on the trail. And guys, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys next time.